Your someday starts today. It's time to explore and test the newest science, methods, and trends for creating a life you love with your host, Tanya MFK. Welcome to My Designed Life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to My Designed Life. I'm Tanya MFK, and I am so excited to be here with financial fitness coach, Kristen Ricupero. And she was with us just the other night, teaching us so many awesome things about dealing with money. Yes, money, it can be an awesome thing, right? It can also be that thing that freaks us out, causes us stress, and does all these crazy things. And what we learned last night, if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it, is that we actually have so much power in our financial choices and future, regardless of what the numbers are. So Kristen has come today to just really give us kind of some quick tips, the Reader Digest version of if you find yourself dealing with money, which would be everyone, if you're one of those people, then Kristen has some tips for you and some really quick action steps for you to just start making a difference now. So Kristen, thank you so much for coming again.
Yes, thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. Well, I'm really excited to just give that quick tip and just take it away. Tell us what are we doing wrong? What do we need to do? How do we change our life? Just real quick.
Real quick, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
We can all these problems in the next 10 minutes here.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we talked a lot about this yesterday, but just to recap on like the actual item steps and what you can do is first, you have to get to know your numbers. You have to know what's actually going out and what's coming in. So there's a couple of different ways that you can start this. And one of the easiest thing is just to start tracking what you're spending.
That's what I have to do now.
Exactly what Tanya's doing is like the easiest way to just say, listen, I'm ready to make a change. I don't know where to start. Let me just start tracking what you spend, save your receipts, get home, log them down in an Excel spreadsheet and see what you do in the next
I have my little list going.
Yes.
I'm doing my homework, Kristen. I'm doing my homework.
And you'll find out a lot. The things that we just don't think that we do. We don't, think, oh, it's no big deal. I never stop for a soda, or I never get coffee. So I'm not a Starbucks person. We're very surprised what we, actually do because it becomes such a habitual part of our life. A lot of these little things. And it's the little things that are adding up, not necessarily all the big things that are getting us. It's not the big car purchases and houses. And I mean, for the majority of Americans, it's all of these little things that we're just not paying attention to.
Because the big stuff's so much easier to keep track of, right? I mean, you kind of remember, oh yeah, I bought a car yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. You look like, how much is truly, what do I have? And, that's a whole discussion in itself that, when can you afford it and when can you not? And when should you make those purchases? And I have exercises that will walk through people like thinking, here's my options. Your options aren't always A and B. So another thing I really encourage you is to always think when you say, well, I can either buy a new car or I can get mine or I can keep driving this one. I mean, you can buy a new car. You can buy a new used car. You can buy a $20,000 car. You can buy a $7,000 car. You can fix your car. There are a lot of options. It's not A or B. It's not I go to college or I don't go to college at all because there's go to community college first for 2 years. And there are ways to do all of these things.
Internships, I'm sure, right? You could look at, so there's like a big gray area that we're not trained to see.
Exactly. So a lot of it starts with that really got off topic of knowing your numbers that went into another, area where we start to think, but it does start with the knowing your numbers.
Yeah. The awareness.
A second action step that will really help you to feel the difference we talked about yesterday is spending in cash. And that's really hard for people. Like we talked about, there's even some people who are fear of losing it. So there's other ways, we look at like dividing out bank accounts into maybe home expenses and a card for that, fun expenses and a card for that. They have, I thought about this since our talk. They actually have those cash-based credit cards. So you put the cash on a card and then when you spend it, it spends it like real cash. Like it's a limit. So you can't go past it. And the only way you can use more is if you put more cash. So that's like a nice compromise. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely another compromise. And we do that a lot with stuff that we want to use cash for, like groceries. But now we love Walmart pickup. Like that has been a game changer in my life. So, but you can't pay with cash. So we preload cards for the month
Ah,
and
got
more
it.
groceries, and that is what it is. So I know that I just can't go over that in the same way.
It's like having
So,
gift cards. It's like gift cards all over the place just for your life. You know, you're like, this is $50. That's all you got. There's nothing more, right? No, you can't call a friend and be like, hey, could you put $4 more on there? Like, it's just all it is, what your gift card is. So you can do it by card, people. That's what she's telling me. So if cash, that's like amazing, simple way. Like everyone usually has some sort of access to cash. But if that freaks you out or you're scared that you're going to lose it, like I will inevitably do, then the cards, like kind of prepaid version is an option for you as well.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice.
So one of the other things, I mean, there's only so many things you can do in steps with money because it is so personal with personal finance. It depends on where your situation is. But if you're really just struggling with, I don't have any money left at the end of my paycheck, that's kind of where I'm going with these steps. So another one, just to open your eyes again to where you're spending, is go back to last month's statement and only 1 month and grab 2 colors of highlighters. Okay. Doesn't matter what, but go ahead and make one for wants and one's for needs. And if you have a partner that you're doing this with, whether you're married or living with, it can be incredibly insightful to seeing how you guys spend differently, because we are very ingrained because of our money stories and where we came from and what we've seen and what our parents taught us into how we spend. So an exercise a lot with couples too is just to have those 2 highlighters and go through individually and do one for wants and one for needs. And then kind of cross compare and say, and you look at like, how much was in your wants did you actually spend? And that all could be pushed towards saving goals, towards other things that you truly do want.
Well, I would think that's also eye-opening for the perception of what one sees as wants and what another might see as wants versus needs, right?
100% when you're talking in the relational aspect, because it just gets everything from TV and TV packages, but it can start a healthy dialogue about, okay, you want this, but is there another way to get it again?
Right. Maybe we can have HBO without all the other ones, right? Like maybe there's something in the compromise there. No, that's really interesting. And another point that you've been kind of the thread that I don't know if anyone else is picking up on what she's saying, which was also a huge proponent of what we talked about last night, was the mindset, right? Like that money mindset. And most people don't realize where their beliefs come from, that they have these preset like rules and beliefs with money. What's a want, what's a need, what's a non-negotiable, what's spending, and all those things, what it means. And we kind of just walk in that accepted truth. Rarely do we have to like come back and look at it. So I know mindset, if you want to talk about it just a little bit, the mindset was also a really big part that you have to deal with because it is so personalized.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, working on that, really understanding why you feel the way you do, because we just do it. When we're ingrained. It's just very natural. I don't know how to.
Yeah, we don't question where it comes from, right? I think there's so many different inputs that we have. Like I've been joking along with our posts, if you guys have seen about like Scrooge McDuck, but it was because it was the first thing I thought was like money, like diving into the coins. And like, even that, I'm a grown adult and that's still in my brain. And, all these different images, thoughts, TV shows that you watched, things that your parents did or didn't do, or other neighbors, friends, versions of what you saw that all came together to create your current mindset. And you didn't actively seek that out. You didn't go like, this is my money class, right? You go, I'm learning, right, and this is now what I've accepted. It was very passive, and for more times than not like completely, we were like not even involved in a way. Like we didn't think about it. So now this like invisible set of rules is what we're living by, and rarely are we ever questioning it, looking back at it. And that's what I think is so important for meeting with someone like Kristen, is to come in and like have that challenge or have that question. I know most of us don't like to be challenged. So let's just say question. Have that question. Have us look at that and go, where did that really come from? And is that really what I believe? Or was it just left over from watching 90210 when I was a kid, right? Anyone know my age yet? So, thinking like those kind of things, right? Like, and then from there, starting to look at the numbers, like you said, identifying the numbers in general, like what are you spending? And then what do you actually have like as your responsibilities to spend, and then in a partnership to identify what you two see as needs and necessities, or wants and necessities. And then another thing we talked about, which was so important last night, back to the mindset, not only about your invisible scripts and rules that you have about money, but also the predetermined outcome you believe. Whether money is hard, money should be difficult, money is greedy, money is like, there's these other like final thoughts that you have that can affect how your future actually is, right? Like how your money situation will become. If you think it's going to be too hard, if you think and believe like there's no way I can get out of debt, then you're right. Right. And how that sucks to be right in that situation, right? You don't want to be right there. So like addressing that is so big. And I think when people hear this money mindset, and I know for myself, when I first started seeing kind of like spiritual crew is like, heal your relationship with the money. You're like, what relationship with money? Like, it sounds so like, but like, it's a real thing to address. And something we have to, because to understand, otherwise we go into another thing people have a hard time understanding, which is self-sabotage, right? Yep. So I love that, you know, these are practical steps, but the truth is there's such a mindset element. And if you don't want to figure this out, that's why people like Kristen exist, you know, and I love that you do what you do, because when I was young and I wanted to be diligent with my finances, I seeked out, I guess I was trying to do a past tense of seek. It
sounds like, but yeah.
It didn't work that way. I seeked like a financial advisor. I was 18. I didn't know. I was like, they're going to tell you how to do your budget and finances. And like, all I learned about was Roth IRAs. And at that age, at 18, I had no concept of investing because I was just trying to figure out my budget. And it just seems to me like there's such a shortage of people like you that are there to come and support us at that basic level. Where like, I can't think about the stock market. I can't even fathom that when I'm just trying to figure out how to buy groceries, you know?
Right.
So I was so excited. And that's why, you guys, I have Kristen here, because I know that this is where a lot of us live, in this reality. And wherever it is, it doesn't matter if you're bringing in, we learned last night, there's actually a company called six figures and I'm in debt, or something was the business on one of the commercials. And you would think, if I had six figures, I'm set. But what we learned is that the number doesn't matter. It's the habits. And that's what's going to get changed, right? So once you get everyone kind of organized, and we'll kind of wrap it up this, but once you get everyone like, okay, we got your numbers, you faced the mindset, you faced the reality, and then you've got them kind of, I guess, on their path. Like, what happens after that? What does their journey look like once they've faced the truth?
Well, for a lot of people, it is paying off the debt. And so it's going through like accountability measures and what can I do better? We're going through expense analysis and really finding out where else can you save without, I mean, there's a lot more to this when we're looking at the financial story, because your financial protections like insurances that we deal with, and make you face adulting as far as having a will done, because that's protecting your family and your future and going on. So we look at all those aspects, and is there anywhere else in the insurances? Are you overinsured, underinsured? Can we, cut anywhere else that's not adequate, or, you're overpaying? And then we start to look into making sure also, you have an emergency fund. So a lot of people, why we rely on credit? No, I'm out of money, I'll throw it on credit. We don't have this emergency fund over here. And so that's a really important fact, that we usually, before even starting paying off the debt, we create a small little pad of life, like where you can fall back on if you do blow a tire in your car, your hot water tank goes out in your house, your car breaks down so you can continue to get to work. But that what if, so you don't have to reach back to that default card all the time that keeps getting you in constant trouble.
More
so
debt,
those numbers figured out. It's more about the daily actionable steps in knowing where to go and what to replace in that.
Because you can make better decisions when you know what you're dealing with, right? When you know what you have. And so it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows, but at the same time, my assumption, and maybe you can tell us a little about this, that most of these people that you've worked with have come out on the other side much happier, right? Like, I think most people think like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much suffering. But I would say that right now, if you don't know what you have, you don't know where you are, the money's just disappearing. That sounds a lot more of suffering than it does if Kristen tells you to cut down on some lattes, right?
Right. I like to say that, you have a comfort spot, but is your comfort spot comfortable? And it's not for most people. We're burying our heads in the sand about this, figuring like, I'll get a raise and that'll take care of it. But once again, when we don't go back to address that beginning and the behaviors and the needs and what would that raise need to be to get you there, we don't address expanding our lifestyle to get more, then that raise won't take care of anything. That bonus won't do anything.
Right.
It's just not going to get you anywhere because we'll find a way to mentally, physically blow it.
Like you said last night, you get more money, then all of a sudden your standard of living goes up. You just kind of see, oh, I have more. There's a void I can fill. So, oh gosh,
definitely people who come in like there's usually one person, especially if it's a married couple. One person's really excited, one might be more reluctant, but they're doing it to appease their partner who is more stressed, because they're male and female typically have like separations on how we think about money. And women, we think about it as being a security blanket for the general part. Men tend to think of it more as a contest and and that's very stereotypical, but that's like the split where it comes in. So when you're learning how to speak to your partner and where they're coming from, a lot of times it's the woman who wants to come in and seek help and the man's kind of a little refusal. But on the other side, 3, 4, 5 months later, once they start seeing things come together and they start getting over the hardness part of it, because everything's hard. It's hard to be broken. It's hard to go through this.
Right.
But to come on the other side, once you realize that I have these choices, I have this power, I did this. Like, I don't do anything for my clients. They do 100%. I just give them the tools that they need.
You show them, here's the path. See, it's right here.
Yeah. It's like, here, this is just go down this road.
They're driving around town. They're like, we're lost. And you're like, oh, I gotcha. You're going to go straight here, make a left, go that.
We can do this a little bit easier. It's still tough choices, but there is a huge relief from everybody. And I love it when, the reluctant person typically comes out around, they're like, yeah, I feel pretty good. We're kind of wrapping up sessions and where are we going to go from here and what support do you need and who can I introduce you to or what can I do for you? And they're like, I feel really good in a different place than where I was, 4, 7, 12 months ago.
I love it. Okay, guys. Well, thank you, Kristen, so much. I think it's so empowering to have, again, somebody like you to go to get this guidance. And if you guys listen to what she's saying, the whole goal of working with her is to stop working with her, right? So she needs you to graduate, because if you don't graduate, then you're not a success story and that doesn't help her. So what a perfect win-win situation. So really briefly, will you just tell everyone, how they can work with you, how they get a hold of you, and how to get started?
Absolutely. You can work with me, on the personal or business end, or I do a combination of both, but you can find me on my Facebook page is fine. Financial Fitness Coaching, Instagram, Financial Fitness Coaching as well. And my website is the same. And on my website, you can sign up immediately for a discovery call where we'll talk about you and your money and what your path might look like and what you're dealing with and where are your problems. And we can look at it from there on to what would coaching look like with me on that aspect, and how long would it possibly take you to be in a position where you felt like a whole new person.
Wonderful. So you're going to give them the honest take right out the gate, like what this would look like for you, because it's individualized. Love that.
We have, everything.
You guys have nothing to lose. Just go on that website, every single person, sign up right now. Follow me. I'm following Kristen's advice this week. I'm keeping track of my budget. So far, we've only bought some rolls at the store, but there's gonna be some purchase later after this call, actually. So I've got my list, and stay tuned, because at the end of the week, Kristen's gonna tell me what we do next after we look at our budget and where it's going. So that'll be exciting. So at mydesignlife.show or My Design Life Show on Instagram, and of course, or on Facebook. And go Kristen Ricupero, or Ricupero. We want to add
you got it.
accent to it, Ricupero. And we'll give you all her details below this video so you guys can check her out and live your rich life now. So again, thank you so much, Kristen, and we'll see you guys all next time.
Thank you for joining us at My Design Life. Catch us every other Monday at 3 p.m. EST. Follow us at Tanya MFK, My Design Life Show, United Intentions Foundation, and UI Media Network. Do you have methods, tips, or hacks to live your best life? Be a guest on our show. Contact us at mydesignlife.show to submit an application.